All right, welcome everyone to Self-Care Awakening. To a special edition tonight, we're going to be talking about Water Matters, the Thirsty for More edition. My name is Heather Abbott. I am a self-care advocate and an avid water drinker. Tonight's show, there's going to be a brief Water Matters presentation for anybody that's new to the show. And then Dr. Lindner, our favorite physiologist and self-care ambassador, is going to be opening it up to a self-care training session to help you teach. So, Dr. Lindner, I'm really excited about the show. You want to go ahead and take it over?
Well, thank you, Heather. And actually, I want to thank you for your design for this first slide that we're showing and the title of it, Thirsty for More. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. So thank you very much. Like Heather said, what we're going to do is do a brief little talk about water and water matters, why it matters to us physiologically, why it would matter to us for our health, and how we can utilize some of this information to improve our health. And before we get started, I always like to define a little bit just about the Self-Care Awakening series. And it really is designed to give people simple, easy ways to be healthier. Many times we have a perception that health is very difficult. And I think that stems from the fact that many of the things that we're taught, the two main areas of health that we're taught is about diet and exercise from a prevention standpoint. And that usually involves some type of lifestyle change. And if there's anything that I've observed, and maybe you guys will agree with me out there about human nature, is we're very often resistant to change. So that perception of health being difficult, comes from that fact. But really, the Self-Care Awakening series is about some simple things that anybody can do to be healthier, whether you're very healthy or if you need some help, if you're in that staircase of super healthy or not quite so healthy. These are things that I think would benefit anybody. And really, when we're talking about self-care, what we're talking about is being healthy by choice, not by chance. And what we mean there is if we leave our health to chance, chances aren't very good we're going to be healthy. And it's kind of like if you notice this wheel of fortune here, if we were to spin this wheel, basically 15 to 20% of that wheel would be healthy. The rest of those would not. And I've put in here a number of different types of chronic diseases, some of the major ones that we deal with in our society. And as the wheel spins, where is it going to end up? And it's going to end up on that question mark because there's a lot more chronic diseases that bother us other than just the ones listed here. Heather, I think, we have another Dave Johnson. And we had 3 Dave Johnsons and me. I feel so honored, really. So anyways, the point being is if we leave our health to chance, chances are we aren't going to be healthy. And here's some of the statistics, again, by a beautiful graphic that Heather put together. Let me just put it this way, and I'm just kind of going to jump around a little bit on this slide. By the time we're 65, 80% of us have one or more chronic diseases. It becomes our major expense. It's the major cause of bankruptcy. It's the major cause of death. 70% of global deaths are due to chronic disease. Same figure here in the U.S. If is a major, it's 86% of our healthcare dollar is spent on treating these preventable diseases, if you will, and that's a lot of money. We spend over $3 trillion on health here in the U.S. So we're talking, nearly 90% of that. So a huge proportion. We fill 4.3 billion prescriptions a year. Most of those just to treat and manage disease. The impetus for this whole series was really to make people aware that I think we've become a little lackadaisical in our society, thinking chronic disease is a normal part of life. It's not. It really isn't. So this series was really designed to dispel that concept or that brainwashing, if you will, that we get every day through different types of media. 1 out of 2 American adults age 18 and above have one chronic disease. 1 out of 4 have 2 or more. Nearly 70% of our population are overweight. A third of our children are. Diabetes is epidemic, pre-diabetics as well. There's 26 million diabetics in the U.S. 54 million are pre-diabetic or at risk. And, nearly 7 out of 10 Americans adults have a sleep problem. So these are all things. When we look at this as problems, we have solutions for this, and really simple, easy solutions. And what we're going to focus here on tonight is on water, and water matters. So you are what you drink. We all are what we drink, as well as what we eat. But let's just take it from a concept of water for this evening. We're 75% water. Our tissues, our organs are anywhere from 90% to probably averaging somewhere around 75 to 80% water. The bones are 22 to 25% water. And a lot of times people think of our bones as very, very static organs. They're very dynamic. Rachel Dayton did an awesome bone health seminar last Saturday, and I'm sure that's up on the internet on YouTube as well. I highly suggest you take a look at it. Heather says it is. So, our lungs are 90% water. Very important. Water's very important in our digestion, our assimilation, our elimination, just about everything that goes on in our body. We lose water every day through just normal physiological processes. When we breathe, we lose 2 cups of water a day through water vapor from the lungs, through evaporation or perspiration, about 2 cups a day. I know I probably lost a little more in that day because it's close to 100 degrees here in Southern California today. But through excretion, primarily through urine, 5 to 6 cups a day. So that's a total of 10 cups a day, which would be about 80 ounces of water that somebody should be drinking if they weigh about 160 pounds. A very small loss in body water can result. So 2.5% results in a efficiency and energy loss of 25%. A loss of 15% is usually fatal. So there's a very narrow margin there that we want to keep our bodies hydrated. Here's the issue. 75% of us walk around chronically dehydrated every day. Now, that's probably from a couple of reasons. One, we aren't drinking enough water. Many times we choose other beverages other than water, and many of them have a diuretic effect or increasing the loss of water, primarily through the urine, which, whether they're coffee, teas, sodas, juices, you name it. Dehydration can lead to fatigue. It'll make you feel hungry all day. You'll overeat. You will crave carbohydrates. Can have some joint issues. Headaches. Many times people talk to me and I say, just start drinking some more water, and those problems go away, whether it's a joint problem or a headache problem. They can lead to stomach problems, ulcers, or to high blood pressure. Of course, many of these things too can lead to blood glucose imbalances, to pre-diabetic or diabetic conditions, just from the fact that you really aren't well hydrated. Here's the other issue why I believe we walk around chronically dehydrated. We don't think of water in the right context. And I'm speaking to everybody here as a physiologist. I used to say this as a parent, as a father as well, to my children. Water is not just a beverage choice. It's an essential nutrient. Now, think about that for just a sec, because that is a paradigm shift in how we think about water. It's not just a beverage choice, it's essential. Our body needs it. And we should drink half our body weight in ounces per day to stay hydrated. So we're very lucky here in the U.S., North America, to have choices for water. Many places in the world do not. I visited some countries where people spend a third of their waking day treating or boiling water so that the microbes or things in that water won't make them ill or even worse. But we do have a lot of choices. So really, but what we want to see here is that the other reason sometimes that we're having problems with hydration is the choice of water or the quality of water that we're choosing. And I don't think there's probably many people tuned in here this evening that haven't heard about issues with tap water, basically being chlorinated, which is a toxic chemical. It's added to kill microbes, pathogens in the water. But the problem with that is many times it reacts with organic material to produce very toxic substances. And albeit those substances may be in small amounts, but albeit again, they will accumulate in your body over time, basically cause a pollution in your body that you will have to deal with. Many people choose to filter water. There's lots of ways to do that. Some of the over-the-counter things that you buy in big stores, very inexpensive, but also very ineffective of what they filter out of the water. You can spend a lot more to filter water through reverse osmosis. You can choose bottled water. 25% of people in our country drink only bottled water. 75% drink it occasionally or often, but 25% only. Now, when I'm chatting with people, and Heather, you can chime in here if you agree with me or not, and I'm talking to people, I think we would agree. When they make a choice for bottled water, they think that they're getting a healthy water. Would
Absolutely.
you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And I know you've done some research on your own for some of the things that you're doing as far as your blog posts. Have you come to the conclusion that bottled water is healthy?
I've come to the conclusion that no, it is not. But the product itself is very toxic.
It is not, and it is not regulated. And I invite everybody, do your own research on this. Just look at the facts and figures. Also, it is a highly one way that we can really help our planet, help our future generations as far as pollution, and help our resources, conserve our resources too, because it's a big waste of that as well. Many people have well water. Now, I live out in the country. I have a well, but you know what? I'm not the only one that lives there. So do a lot of cattle. So do a lot of other agriculturally important animals. So do people grow grapes. I've got corn on one side. Whatever people are using in their animal or plant production agricultural processes are in the well. And I really have no control over that. So I choose to do something about that myself for healthier water. Now, you can notice all these different types of water are acidic, except for maybe well water. That's basically because they don't have any minerals. Our body wants a more alkaline water. And if we're drinking, everything we do in our life throughout our day causes acid buildup. Why would we want to add with it just with the water that we're drinking? Probably not a good choice if we can help it. So to me, and again, my opinion, and I invite you to make your own, just like Heather has, as to whether these are healthy or not. So if we were looking for a healthy water, what would that look like? Or what type of system would we get to produce that type of water? One, we'd want to have a system with advanced filtration. I think we can all probably agree with that, to take out those harmful things. We would also want that to be third-party validated. Not so many times when I'm looking at systems, especially online, it's the company that's saying, we did these tests and here's the results. Now, I am a scientist, so I guess I'm naturally a little skeptical, but I chuckle a little bit about that. But I want to see somebody other than that company that's marketing that product do these tests. And I want to see tests that has some meaning, like the ANSI, National Standards Foundation, and these are the categories, and I'll talk about them again in a minute, that you're looking for as far as removal of harmful substances, removal of heavy metals like lead, things along those lines. If I were looking for a healthy water or for a system to do that, I'd want to have an alkaline water, somewhere with a pH level of 8.5 to 9.5. I would not want something that is excessively alkaline, nor would I want anything that's acidic. But I want something within that range, okay? I like to see minerals added back to the water, and I like to see the water structured. So when we're looking at a water being produced in nature coming down a brook, it has some structure to it because it's running over rocks, and those rocks are usually rounded, and that creates a vortex which structures that water and enables it to carry more oxygen and be better hydrating and just a better nutrient for you, if you will. I'd look for a system that's cost effective, for easy to use and maintain, and the one that I recommend is called the Waterfall. It's from Nikken, and it basically does all these things. It removes all the best way to explain this system, or it's on the go unit, which is the sport bottle, is that it takes all the harmful things out and then puts back in what nature intended to be in water to make it the healthiest possible for us. So it's really very cool. So we do, its filters and standard 42, 53, 372, which is heavy metal lead reduction. And again, this is third party. So it's an ionized structured water, alkaline water. The unit uses no electricity, so it's very cost effective. The water is incredibly palatable. It tastes awesome. It really does. And it's great for the environment. Basically, all the plastics that are used in here are biodegradable. They will have no imprint on the environment if they were to end up in it. Unlike bottled water, which is, I mean, just a plastic bottle sticks around for 1,000 years. And of course, everybody says we recycle, but 80% of those bottles are not. So this is the unit I would recommend. It is also very, very cost effective for those of you in that category that choose bottled water. This will save you a ton of money. I mean, it really will. It's good on your wallet. It's good for your health. It's good for the planet. And here's just some comparisons of what people might save over 1 to 5 years just making this choice for a healthier water rather than bottled water. So, very, very effective unit, very cost effective, great water. We have a couple other water products that we advocate with Nikken. We have a shower system. We have the sport bottle that you saw there for on the go as well. So, Heather, unmute yourself if you would, and just kind of let me know. I know that you have used Nikken water. I know you have it in the office that you work in, and I'm asking you because you're relatively new to these products or these technologies. Just give me a quick little story of what you like most about the water.
Oh, the taste.
The taste?
Yeah, the taste. The taste is just really good. Got a really smooth, silky kind of taste. A little bit sweet, to me anyway. I've always drank a lot of water, but it's kind of interesting after you've had the Nikken water and then you go to like a restaurant and order an iced water, which I still encourage you to do. But if you do, you'll notice that it doesn't taste as good.
You kind of go, bah.
Yeah. But you're getting hydrated.
You're getting hydrated, right? But not as hydrated. So that brings my next comment here too, is that many times when people are thirsty and they're gulping down some water, they'll feel very full. This never happens with the Waterfall or the PiMag water because it's absorbed so quickly. Now, also, I think, and I'll just mention this point too, is that I think people that don't drink enough water really don't have the correct behavior to do so. They try to drink it in gulps. They try to drink a glass at a time because they know that they need to drink half their body weight instead of just sipping it all day. Now, what I've noticed, and for many people I've chatted with for my 18 years of advocacy for these products, really, is that people just naturally start to sip water all day long. And when they're thirsty, they just grab for more of that water. And that behavior just becomes very important in keeping them hydrated all day, which is very difficult to do if you don't like the way a water tastes, or if that water is making you feel sloshy or too full, or it's really not giving you the hydration that a good quality water would. I'm not sure if there was a question in there or not, but so do you kind of know? Yeah. Okay. Great. So before we move on, if we have anybody that'd like to chat a question about water or anything else, I think we have a couple moments we could do that, or tell a story of what they have experienced with the water.
I'm watching the chat window now, and I'll let you know if somebody bounces in there.
Okay, so I'm going to show this little part this evening too, and these are symptoms of lots of, when I show this in a live audience and I have people with medical backgrounds or health profession backgrounds and ask them what these are symptoms of, many times I get in the response chronic disease after chronic disease that these are symptoms of. And of course, many times, of course, with that, there is, of course, a pharmaceutical drug that may be prescribed for treating and managing that problem. But really what we're talking about here is these are also symptoms of just simple dehydration. And with that 4.3 billion prescriptions that we fill every year, how many are filled just because people aren't drinking enough water, or the right kind of water, or don't have the behavior to take in enough water daily? So that's kind of my question to everybody out there too. So I will pause for another second. If anybody has a comment or a story, that's fine. If not, we will move on.
Not so far.
Okay.
I would like to just say, if you just make the decision to drink more water, that you can solve most of these symptoms here. It's just a simple,
absolutely.
It's not something that's dramatic or drastic, just a simple choice.
Which is kind of the recurring theme through our whole self-care awakening series. We can, if we can drink more water, that's great. I highly advocate for that. I also advocate that you drink a high quality water too, because it will do, why use our bodies? I'll put this in there, Heather, too, and thank you for that comment. Why use our bodies as a filter when we don't have to? So if we're drinking lots of tap water, what does our body have to do? It has to filter all those bad things out. If we're drinking bottled water and all the PCBs that have accumulated in that bottle, what does our body have to do? Same thing. When people are Googling or doing some research on the internet about bottled water, they're going to see there's a lot of bad things in there other than just the PCBs or whatever. In fact, in many tests, I think there was, I can't remember it, so I don't want to quote it, but 38 different bottled water they tested, and I think the majority of them had contaminants in it.
So no questions so far. If you want to move ahead.
Well, I'm more than happy to just keep moving on. So anyways, this is self-care. This is the Self-Care Awakening series. Tonight we talk a little bit about water matters. We also talk about sleep matters, air matters, energy matters, and weight matters. The definition of self-care really is this is an active process, a dynamic process through which people become aware of and make choices for a healthier life. So I hope this evening we made you a little more informed or made you aware of the importance of water, the importance of the quality of water that you drink, and that you do have other choices out there. So,
we do have a question that just came in, if I could just jump in.
Okay, sure.
The question comes from Mary, and she is asking, what tests do you suggest, Dr. Gary, that they do for the water at demos, and where can you buy them? She's saying for toxic, not just for acid versus alkaline.
Well, actually, the first thing, and rather than tests, I mean, you can do pH tests. We can do absorption tests just by putting drops of water on the skin. Obviously, serve water to people, whether you're meeting with them one-on-one or in a large group. People have an interest in water, and most of the people that I'm talking to, that's the first thing they ask about. Tell me more about the water. Tell me more about why that is healthy, and we'll talk about that a little bit in the training in just a minute. But I show them. I keep a copy of our certification from water quality and from ANSI and NSF, and I show them that. If they want to, and let's say I'm meeting with them at home, I have them get out their water bill and take a look at what's in that tap water, because many times some of their tests are in there too. Here locally, we have a real problem with a couple of our wells in the city of Lodi, and very frequently in the paper, and I mean frequently as to maybe once or twice a month, some of those wells are shut down because of contaminants in that well, which end up in our municipal and our city water. So people are aware of that. We're just, we're really just trying to give them a better, a healthier choice. You can do energy demos with the water. Karen Messersmith and our team does that very frequently. I'm more into just talking about the quality of water. The tap water is not a healthy choice. Bottled water isn't. That's probably the two main ones that people choose. The others are really smaller percentages, and most of the people you're talking to either choose for tap water or for bottled water.